Hello there, guys. I'm just making a brew while you come in. Amber comes on while this goes out onto the other platforms and here live. And the topic of conversation is, as an individual with needs, be it a physical condition, mental health, or challenge in your life, what help was it that you were looking for from the services? What help did you think you were going to get, and who pays for it? So that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today. When you went to the system like I did, what exactly did you think was actually going to happen? What services do you believe that government should be providing? And how do you believe that this new system should be structured to support people who are going through, whether it be anything from incompetent to not having the tools, skills, or knowledge, not having the education? If you don't want minimum wage, don't have minimum education, simple as that. You know, the structures that we have are always going to have to exist, because it is always going to be people trying to do the best by others, and others either wanting to do it themselves, or this challenge is always going to happen. In order to get 1 million children to sit down to meditate for the world takes either a lot of abuse or a lot of organisation and stuff like that. So in order to get us as a Great Britain, because I'm here over in the UK, we're worldwide, so this network is a worldwide network. We have to think about us as human beings, as spiritual beings, human beings, and our actual needs, our fundamental basic needs. Like I always said, the Lord is here to provide your basic needs, just as birds soar, they're fed, they're homed. We have a structure in place now that means that everybody is living out of sync with their natural flow and their natural way of natural co-symbioticness, because it's ran by a planned system that takes anywhere up to 3-4 months. In fact, to register, to go to your doctors these days, my doctor's here, and just to ask everybody else who's here, what is it like to book an appointment at your doctors and your GPs right now? This is where the first point of call starts. Whenever we feel ill, whenever we are down, whenever we're at a point where you know, something is not quite right in our life, the first thing that we do is, if we're in a relationship, is we turn to predominantly our partner, and we talk about our partner about it. If we can't talk about our partner to it, if we have our parents, then predominantly we turn to our parents. If, like myself and many other people around the world, you don't have enabling, empowering, supporting parents, I actually have a narcissistic mother, unfortunately. I love her dearly, but, you know, she doesn't love me. But, you know, if you don't have the support circles, so basically bring this back down to circles of support. So who is your circles of support? Even if it's not about a weakness, it's about a strength, where you have a gap between where you are to where you want to be. If, say, that gap may be that you want to be a footballer, but you've got an amputated leg, and that leg needs to be specialized and tailored so you can still play football. I know somebody, my friend Michael, is a pro footballer. He's an amputee, and he has a specialised leg for when he plays football, and then he has a specialised leg for when he's at home, and he plays for England and Manchester United. I don't know if he still plays for Man now or if he's moved, but he was playing for Man at the time when I knew him. In order for him to do that, he needs to be enabled. Now, I always talk about don't disable me, enable me. So in this country, if you are deemed unfit for work, so basically you're not fit to get up in the morning and go and support your family, yourself, then we live in the UK. It's not a free-for-all system as people think it is. It is there to support the vulnerable, and our system puts in place a support system for people who are considered vulnerable. This has been abused and manipulated by the service providers and the service users. You have to admit that the majority of people on the benefit system, playing the system, don't need to be there. There are genuine, real vulnerable people that do deserve to be supported by the system. A lot of people, it's just free money. It's just an extra way of dealing with getting more money. So what was DLA or PIP? where I live right now, I have witnessed people switching wheelchairs around to go to PIP meetings to say how bad their condition is. That's people who are playing the system. The people who genuinely need help. So even if you have a child, so it's not necessarily about yourself. It might not be you that is breaking down. It might not be you. It might be your child may be on the autistic spectrum. Your child may be struggling with the education system. Your child may be going through some bullying at school. Your child may be going through some form of challenges themselves. So we have a right and a strength to ask for help. So when you need help with anything, be it that I've got to get a load of clothes bagged up and downstairs, and I've now just lost my only bag that I had for it, and I'm collecting other bags and it doesn't work. So if you're someone who constantly self-sacrifices for people and you deplete yourself constantly and you don't know your own self, you don't know who you are, what you're about and why you're here, then you're going to find life very challenging. So when you need that help, be it actually you might get the flu and you're a mother, or we might hear some banging. Dean's going to have to break into the shed downstairs. I cannot find the keys.
Yeah, I'm going to go to... Do you want to come with me? Actually, you can come with me.
Do you want your shoes on? All right, go with Daddy. Have you got the key fob, Dean? Dean, you need the fob. 2 seconds. Dean, you need the fob. And you might need the door to get in, just in case I'm still live. I won't hear you. Front door, please. No, front door, please. Front door, please. It's fine. Go with Daddy quickly. Quickly now or not? I've got to do this. See if his scooter's in there. Dean, do you want the other shed keys to get his scooter out? He's going to come back up in a minute and ask for the other shed keys because he's going to have to move all the stuff into the other shed. But this is something simple with me. So take me for an example. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Shed keys, stuff going off downstairs. Yes, you see me on roller skates. Yes, I've got my roller skates on. No, I'm not going to fall over on my ass for you today. I've already fallen over a bit today. So in order for someone like me to pick and carry boxes with 2 children, it's a bit of a struggle. We all need help in some way. It might even just be that we've gone shopping and we've ended up with too many fucking bags and we don't have a car, and it may just be to say to somebody, do you mind just carrying a couple of these bags down hell? To ask for help takes strength. But the question is, who do we ask for help for and how and where? And like I was saying, go back to my GP. I have to wait until Wednesday to go over to my GP to make an appointment for next Wednesday. And it's done on this booking system that is just fucking crazy. So to Somerstown Doctor's Surgery, it's ridiculous. Basically, they think that illness just comes when it's convenient for people to book appointments. It doesn't work like that. They should have a walk-in morning clinic, afternoon appointments, and book as and when. It's as simple as that. Just the way it used to be with good old doctors. Ring up, make an appointment. So the thing is, though, you go to the doctor to get 5 minutes. So to take me as an example, hey, my name, go to the doctors, go to see Dr. Shepherd. Dr. Shepherd is the child protection doctor, so I always prefer to speak to her first, because if she's going to call anything, she'll tell me first rather than referring it over to somebody else. So I always prefer to go direct with these people. I know what I'm dealing with and what's going to go on, and I ask to see all notes and what they're going to communicate. So take me for an example. I go over to the doctors and I say, look, I need a letter from you guys because housing need all of my diagnosis. I've got 22 years of wrongful diagnosis, which has caused problems with me with having my kids taken. But now, actually, I've got to the point where I'm going to end up with a diagnosis on me. It will probably be called complex post-traumatic stress disorder, because of the amount of aggravated trauma that these last 5 years, so 7 years, but predominantly more these last 3 years, and dealing with a lot of this has caused me more and more trauma. And I do cope with it very well, but it means that I've become more and more and more of a roaring lion, I will say things like, I'll stick a bullet to your head. I will talk about this sort of stuff that I would never ever have said before in my life ever. I never actually felt like I ever had to protect or defend myself from people. I'd already come through all of that, and I was a big grown up. You know, I was a child back then, and I wasn't able to defend myself from adults. But as an adult, I can defend myself from those sort of situations a lot better. I have been in a situation when I was 23 where I was pinned and raped, the police, and did all of that. It's exactly the same as if your house is burgled. So you go to work every day, you know, you pay your bills, you keep your house going, you buy your content, you get lovely little things, you have all of the content of your house, and then one day you walk through the door and all of a sudden it's been smashed to fucking smithereens, the telly's been ripped out, your laptop's gone, your car's been nicked off the front, and your house has been fucking burnt down, mate, and it's all gone. It's gone, 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 gone. Everything you've worked for is gone. Who do you speak to? Well, straight away, there was a fire, so the fire brigade would be there. That is a service that is paid for by our council tax. It is provided by the services, by the government. It's actually funded so much by the government. It's actually funded by the council tax, which is an organised structure within each county and city and how it works, which is still MPs, councillors, ran by government and state. So then the next one is you've had a break-in. So straight away, who did it? Who did the crime? You're going to ring the police. The police, straight away, again, is a service that's paid for by council tax. People go to work, they contribute, they pay council tax, it pays for these services. So straight away, again, you've got the police and you've got the fire brigade. What if someone got hurt? What if there was an injury? What if somebody was in the middle of it? They've been stabbed, they've been hurt. Straight away, you're going to call an ambulance. You're going straight to the services again. The service that's paid for by the national service thing. So if you go to work, you pay a contribution to national health services. So it's always been a membership. We have always contributed to it. It's not as much as we pay for council tax, but we always have. And if you're on benefits, it's paid for, bought for you. In fact, actually, it's not. So it's not actually paid for by the full. So when you get to pension age, when you're on benefits, you're going to be fucked because you haven't paid into a pension, you haven't paid into all these things, and you're going to be on the bare minimum of your fucking arse, potentially out on the streets, mate, because you haven't thought about the future. Now, one of government's solutions for this matter is to get people thinking about the future. Because at the end of the day, we live in a monopoly world. We live in a capitalistic industry. Whether you like it or not, that's what's going on. If I asked you right now to come to my home and be here with me and talk to me and give me a hand, you're not going to just jump in your car and come and do that. And, you know, come in and be with me. If my own fucking family wouldn't do that, whether I was fucking desperate for it or not. Now, if I put up an advert and I said to somebody that I needed somebody in my home for an hour in the morning, an hour and a half in the evening, and 2 hours a week cleaning, and I was going to pay you, say, £7.50, £8.50, £10 an hour, and I want you to come here, then yes, people are going to come and go. They're going to discuss what the job is, but they're actually interested in how much they're getting paid, what they've got to come in, do, gone, and how much they're going to get at the end of it. That's all they're interested in. And that's the world that we live in. Where did true service go? Now, if I saw somebody out there, as I do, I have a gentleman out there. He used to work for the BBC. He's an old gentleman. He used to be a film producer for the snooker. And he obviously, his life turned to alcohol and drugs and saw a lot of stuff where actually, if you have a conversation with him, he could probably tell you what Donald Trump and everybody is going to announce over the UK soon. And he can probably even name you, which is why he lives the way he does right now. But I'm quite happy. There's a couple of times I've come back with my jeans. If I wear baggy jeans, shit like that. A couple of times I've come back with urine over my jeans because, you know, I'll go and sit down with him and have a chat with him, let him offload, because he gets angry and he rants a lot, and a lot of people can't handle him, and they're close to sort of grabbing him and sectioning, do you know what I mean? So I've got no problem going and sit down. I don't sit down with him and go, hey, you've just had my time, mate. That's so much an hour and do. Amber serves us for free. That's what Amber does. And actually, if Amber had the money to come over, she'd be over here immediately giving me a hand. She'd probably even sleep on the roof or in the storage unit. But in order for somebody to do something, they have to be paid. When you go to see your GP has a salary. Your GP made the decision as a youth to go to medical school, serve through university for 5 years, graduated to become a GP, and is there to help and serve you. They made the decision to do that. They did that because they cared, and also because mummy and daddy probably wanted them to be a doctor, solicitor, or a candlestick maker. And sometimes people work really, really hard and don't come from money and don't come from support, and have put themselves through medical because they've either had a condition or they've lost someone and they want to get to the bottom of it. The majority of people who come into the social care system because they want to be able to help people, they want to serve people, they want to make a difference. The majority of people that become teachers, they want to make a difference to the youth, they want to give back to the youth, they want to educate and train and prepare the youth. The majority of people who become nurses because they want to help people heal and look after them. The majority of people who become police officers do it because they want to protect and serve. They do it because actually they don't want someone coming into your house and robbing you. They don't want drugs on our community streets. They don't want people freaking breaking into people's houses and taking people's cars. They don't want people causing accidents on the road and speeding away. They don't want this stuff. And they do it because they want to protect the people. And people choose to go to the army because, one, they actually want a career and a home, but two, ultimately, they're willing to stand and fight to the service to protect our country, to protect the Queen, to protect the governance, and to protect the state. So then we have to ask ourselves, who is this system built for? Are we just a product? Are we just a cash cow? Are we just monopoly money? Am I just a product to somebody that they can make money? Is it better to just have me go to the GP, go, oops, upside the head, here's your medication, this is your label. Hey, we're now going to pay for a psychologist to do a report on you, whether they've got the budget to do it, but hey, the psychologist then gets a load of money. Just like the fact that XR are fundraising for their legal fees to pay bindmans. So basically, they put themselves on the line to give bindmans a lot of money. The fact that they have bindmans as their solicitor, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know right now. I would love to have bindmans. I know people who have had bindmans, but I also know bindmans are corrupt as fuck. So don't forget, when it comes to law, Michael Mansfield was my uncle's barrister. So I grew up in this world. The majority of barristers and solicitors do it because daddy wanted them to be a doctor or solicitor. My friend who is a solicitor, he told me the reason he became a solicitor is because when he goes to the pub and someone says, hey, what do you do for a living? He says he's a solicitor. He knows it's cool. He also knows it comes with good wages, but it comes with lots of hours and lots of responsibility. So at the end of the day, even if it's you've not paid a bill, you've got the bailiffs on your door, even if it's that you've missed a step in life and you've got to go back and do it again, ultimately a time will come when you ask for help, whether that be at school, whether that be in university, whether that be at the doctors, whether that be chatting to somebody for directions. You're going to ask for help. And I've been on now 17 minutes. I'm fucking nicotine roaring right now. And don't forget, I can't afford fags. I pick up dimps, but I'm just going to quickly inhale and ingest fucking cancer-ridden whatever chemical shit into my lungs right now because I am a nicotine addict. So say I wanted to quit smoking. Again, smokers census set up by the NHS, paid for by the people, ran by the government to enable and support people to give up smoking if they want to give up smoking. What if I've been through sexual abuse? I need a little bit of counselling. Where do the counsellors come from? Now, ultimately, people can set up as individuals, as businesses, and help people. But ultimately, they want government funding because not everybody can pay the fees. I could stand here and now and say, as a person going through trauma, I also actually know how to deal with trauma. So I could sit here and go, right, well, it's going to be $5,000 to have a consultation with me, blah, 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 blah. I can do that too. But it's not about money. God over money. What do they call it? God or mamono or something. You can either glory to the Lord or worship money. And I don't worship money. Money provides me with things. But if I needed help and I needed a cleaner to come in and do all this shit that just drains me and takes my time away from what I need to be doing. In fact, I should be hoovering now rather than live. I should be ironing. I could probably iron while doing live. That's fine. Doesn't bother me. I do that sometimes anyway. But, I've got other stuff. Shiloh's asleep. Elijah's gone down to storage with his dad. So I've got the police here with Dean knocking it in. In fact, the fact that Elijah's with him was probably fine. But say, what if somebody did come and kick my storage unit in? Who do you turn to? Do we become vigilantes that take justice into our own hands? If somebody hurts us in some way, do we revenge in the same way that they attacked us? I never did get to make my burger though. Our bloody hands dropped earlier on, and I dropped the cup. Like, this is an EDS fucking nightmare sometimes. But if you, per se, you know, need to pay somebody to do something, the thing is, when it comes to circles of support, should it be your mum and dad? So if, say, mum and dad have a child and that child is born with EDS and autism, and it's going to require some form of difference than what a normal child per se, that it may be very gifted, very talented, it's going to need a lot of stimulation, you know, a lot of thriving, probably be taken to a lot of clubs, probably want to be training. Somebody like me could be out on the skates 8 hours a day, do you know what I mean? Especially if I decide to go pro freestyling, then the level of training for somebody like me would involve everything from Pilates, because you need your stability, fitness and cardio to training, no different than an Olympic athlete. An Olympic athlete doesn't just go and run a race. An Olympic athlete takes a team, it takes a support system. An Olympic athlete will have a neurologist, it will actually, because of the stimulus that goes on in brains with trainings. They'll be measuring, you know, to help them with visualizations. They will have a physio, they will have a dietitian, they will have a coach. Everybody has a coach. They will have a coaching assistant. They will have a branding support. They will have sponsorship. These people are training for the elite stuff. They don't have time to get up and go to work. They don't have time to do that stuff, and they're not expected to do so. Hence why they get sponsorship. Hence why footballers make so much money. The actual salary of a footballer isn't that great. MPs get 60 grand a year. The majority of the money comes from sponsorship. And in order to do that, it takes for somebody to believe in you, to see your potential, for somebody to get you time to invest in you. Even now, I need somebody who believes in me. I need somebody who goes, do you know what? Fuck it. This woman's tenacious. She ain't stopping. She's keep going. She's managed to build a network of, you know, probably over 1 million people at the moment, probably even more. We're all intertwined. We're all connected. Even the people who fucking hate me took from me in the first place. Do you know what I mean? Even the ones that are doing the protest on the 17th that, you know, keep me alienated from it, they still came to London to meet me, to get the energy. I'm the one that goes go 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 and puts them across the road. I'm the one that empowers them, and then they go off and they do what they want to do. I'm not working as a paid coach. If I was, you know, I would be pushing and pushing and pushing her to an even bigger level. She can go even bigger than this. But when you take from somebody like me and you take from source and you run, you can only go as far as the source that comes with it. I am the seed planter of this. Well, David Jenkins came before me. Many people came before me. But what we did is we took something and made it bigger. In fact, we took it out. That's how Historic came out. So now we've got to take it to the next level. And we need a system now where you can go over to your GP. You're not just getting 5 minutes and pop with pills and being diagnosed. We are getting people to talk to. The counselling is not done in a way where it's all reported, and where actually, rather than remove you from situations and go, this is a problem, to actually, yeah, does it fit?
Right.
Does it quite fit?
Sorry to interrupt your whatever you're doing, but basically when you go back down, okay, I've managed to pop the lock without any damage.
Cool.
So when you go back down, what you've got to do is get the screwdriver, pop it in, and just lever it slowly, and then open the shed. So there's no damage, right? No damage at all.
Perfect. So, question is, what have I got in there? Does his bike fit him? Well, I've been trying to get it out, but I don't know if it fits him.
The other thing is, I'll talk to you when you're off camera, because I need to speak to you about that folder. You know what I'm talking about, yeah?
Please tell me there's nothing down.
No, hold on. The folder, which has got the originals in, okay, is in that cupboard. It's in a black, it's not in there. I've just searched it all over. If you remember rightly, we put the original, no, hold on. You put the originals.
Is it in the big box?
No, it's not in any of the boxes. It's in there. It's a small black folder with plastic casing with all the originals in it. It's got to be in there, okay? Because it's not in that shed, so it wasn't packed. And I need them.
Ah, you mean your little...
Thank you.
Right, okay.
So it's got to be in there.
I know which one you mean. No, it wasn't because it wasn't here.
Well, no, it is here. No, not my black look. Okay, I'll try and...
The little one that you keep over your shoulder, or the big one?
No, that, I've got that. No, not the big one. It's a black folder, yeah?
Just 2 seconds, guys.
It's got the original... Yes, it's not in there. Yeah, it's this top sort of folder. Not this one, but it's a small one. You put it in here, look. And it's got all the originals in it. Sorry.
Yes. Is the bicycle?
Yes, that's your bicycle, isn't it?
Maybe.
Look, just do your thing.
What you done?
It's fine. Don't stress out. It's absolutely fine. It was put in there, and it's like a little black folder with the originals in it. Yeah. Do you remember? Because I said they're broken, so I need to keep them anyway. Yeah. It's put in there, but listen.
I don't throw any
It's
of
fine.
your
It's
stuff
fine.
down,
Don't
so.
stress yourself out. Just do what you need to do.
I've only ever thrown your stuff out the door once, and it was your shoes, and I brought them back in.
It's absolutely fine. What I'm saying to you is that I need to find it. Not right
Divorce
now.
without marriage, isn't it
Not-
lovely?
Not right now. I understand. So it's fine. But it is in that drawer, basically. It's in one of them.
Right, okay.
Okay, I know that for a fact. He's packed all the rest of it. All the rest of it's all there. Not a problem. No damage. So I'm happy with that. But there's a little, but it's just a little black folder. Because you remember, I came back from when I last, not last one out, but the time before, and I said they're broken now. So I need to pop them in a sleeve to keep hold of them because they're the originals for it.
Try under the mattress in the bedroom.
Right. You know what I mean?
When just try to have a look, because I've got a feeling you might have
No.
flattened them.
No.
Pirate
Yeah.
chair.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just get me what you want to get on with. I'll talk to you.
Prime example, asking for help. So right now, he's asking for help, and people come together to try to help him and find things and stuff like that. So prime example. So back to my original question, and I would like to get some comments going on in here, because it's the comments that the media will be reading, it's the comments that the MPs that I'll be tagging in that will be reading, it's the comments that the police and people who have got my crack book under surveillance will be reading. You are providing the evidence here. So what I would like you to do is just write in the comments, if you were the ones who turned to social services or the NHS or the doctors, what help did you think you were going to get? I'm on one side of dealing with grief and trauma. I don't have the sort of support that I need around me, and I need to put myself in a situation where I do. I need to be quite isolated. I need to be around horses. I need to be around dogs. I need to be around animals. I need to be around growing nature. I need to be around planting seeds and growing things. I need to be around child-friendly area. And I need to be outside and to be able to do these sort of things. I don't need to be in St. James's where they don't even have a fucking Bible and their art cupboard is fucking shit. And all they do is stand you in a queue, pill popping. I don't need to be pill popped. I don't need to be labelled. I just need people to understand that I'm getting up every day to do something bigger than myself, that I have to keep growing in order to fulfill into this position, as well as dealing with the adversary that comes with not who I am now, but who I would step into if I fulfill this. And also dealing with the grief, the challenges that I have here in the house. And I am a roaring lion, okay? So the challenges that we've got with the services, as I've said, is they're dealing with everything like a branch on a tree. We've got to get to the root, we've got to pull the root out, and we've got to plant a whole new, in fact, we've got redig up the fucking soil because the soil has been completely contaminated. And we've got to prepare the new ground. And it is time to now prepare the new ground. It is time now. There's an absolute beautiful story. And it's the difference between two men that were harvesting crops and we were in a drought. One man prayed for rain. Well, actually, both men prayed for rain. One prayed for rain every day. The other prayed and went out and harvested his crops. One received the rain and the other didn't. The one who prepares the way, who starts making the steps, like Amber's mum has prepared my room and home already, so hopefully that manifests me maybe over there before I go off to do what I need to do. I need to go over to the Caribbean islands. It's really important. It links all of this together. It's over in the Caribbean islands. I need to go from Amber's and literally hop over on boats over to the Caribbean islands and put some energy down there and stamp their ground, you know what I mean? So anyway, it's all coming up. It's all coming out. It is now. Current is historic, is rocking the place. But what we've got to bring is the current. And it's just about making people realise that they've ran with a pilot study where they've trialled and errored, and the errors have caused consequences to people. It's not about pointing fingers. It's not about blame and shame. It's not about going, this person fucked up, that person fucked up. We have all fucked up. We, the human race, have fucked up. We have fucked it for our future generation. We have fucked it for ourselves. We have fucked it for the planet, but it will sort itself out. And we have fucked it for our communities and our families. And the moment we accept that, the moment government accept that, or just human beings getting up to go to work paid by a salary that comes from the central funding, we're all human beings. We're all fragile beings. We are all just trying to find our own way in the world, where we fit in, how we pay our bills, how we keep a roof over our head, how we provide ourselves with a car, what job we're going to have. Is it a job we love? Is it a job that we hate? You know, we're all just trying to do that. Some people struggle more than others. They need Jesus. There's nothing I can do for that. Jesus is the only answer for them, and I hope to God they bow the knee. But you know, at a time right now, it's so pinnacle, guys. On the 25th, no, the 28th, I think it is, Parliament cease. They're in recess. School is over. All the industrial shuts down, and we now go into a whole new school year. So if you remember when you were at school, you took down all of the paintings from your classroom, you unpacked all your tray, you packed all your bags, you got all of the work that you'd done all year, and you were preparing to go to a whole new classroom with a new teacher, and starting a whole new year. And that's what happens with government. It's no different at all. So literally in September, we will have a whole new structure, and it's for us, the people, to assembly at your town halls, come together, and literally talk about what it is that you want. What is it? Do you want to live in one place for the rest of your life? Do you want to travel? Do you want to be able to do both? Should we have worldwide passports? Should we be able to enter different countries? Should there be rules and regulations? As a British country, should we all be white Brits? Should we be a diverse society? Should we be an island for all cultures and all races? Or should we sit under one model of values? The question I always ask is, who are you here to serve and why? What is your ethos? What is your ethics? What is your mission? What is your message? What are your values and what are your standards? And as long as you know that and you have the blueprint for yourself, then you can then go off, take back your heart, mind and soul, or protect your heart, mind and soul, whichever way it is, and thrive and be the person you should be. We need leaders that are empowering and enabling the people. We need hope now. We need faith restored. We need a positive, bright future ahead of us. And that means people like me can knowingly put my children into school, education, leave them with their dad, anybody, without being triggered and traumatized. And it's all about trigger and trauma. And if we can learn to overcome that, we protect our kids too much. We protect our kids from the ways of the world too much. We have to expose our children to what goes on, because otherwise, you know, it becomes trauma to something that is what it is now. So anyway, the devil wants you to tolerate this shit. I don't tolerate it. I hope you don't tolerate it. Everything is out on my crack book. I've put the things down. It's just coming into 2 o'clock because I've got other stuff to do. I'm going to cut this one short and probably see you again later. I'm just going to check comments quickly before I go. And Jennifer has said, I nearly jumped off a cliff, and thank God David saved me. Social pushed me to that stage. Well, I've been there at Bristol Bridge, mate. I was pregnant with Elijah and nearly went off Bristol Bridge, mate. And it was very close. Very, 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 very close. I went and sat down at the prison with Dean instead. So I've had cancer, and these people that do this, take the piss. There's too many people with cancer. One, there's a cure, but there's too many people with cancer that are going to the doctors, and because they have been told, well, you're going to die anyway, we might as well get your kids settled, and that is the attitude. Yes, in fact, mine was that attitude. Well, you might not make it through the birth, mate. So, you know, there's no compassion and understanding there. They think the child witnessing death is trauma. They think a child growing up to be a parent's carer is trauma. It's called family. And it's about time we reconstructed family and brought families back together, and then we don't need these services. Because if your mum needs to go on a commode, why do you need to get a carer in to help your mum on the commode when you can do it yourself? She did your nappy, so why can you not help her onto a commode? If your mum needs to go shopping, if you need to give up your entire life to support your mum, we live in a country that will provide you with carer supports. And that's what I'm saying. It's about realizing that people are just trying to do their best. But unfortunately, polarity exists. And there are some really dark people in this that are dealing with demons and trauma that are projecting a lot of shit onto people. And that has to stop, because it's children that be affected. But anyway, it's coming out. The root, the gangrene now. So it's going to be very smelly. It's going to be very disgusting. It's going to be very sloppy. It's going to be very nasty. It's going to absolutely reek. The stench is going to be horrible. People aren't going to want to hear it. People aren't going to want to know about it. But until we get this fucking gangrene out or amputate it, but if we amputate it and accept that this stuff is going on and there's nothing that we can do about it, there was 200 children saved on one snatch. I'm telling you right here, right now, that as I'm live, that children are being held in some very nasty places right now, going through some very nasty things. And we need people who can go in and get these kids out. And if that means that we have people like our state police or even vigilante groups that will mask up, go in, put a bullet to these damn people's heads, take them kids out, so be it. If we have to sacrifice 50 people with a bullet to their head for the sake of saving thousands of children, so be it. So I'm glad that we have police. I'm glad that we have an NHS. I'm glad that we have an education system. I'm blessed to live in a country that has a welfare system and supports and enables people. What it is we don't have time. Everybody is so absorbed in their own lives, trying to get on their own feet. We just don't have time for each other. And a lot of people, we don't need labels. We just need someone to talk to. Somebody who, rather than waiting to say what they want to say, is actually truly listening to you, truly hearing what you're saying. What's the matter, sweetheart?
Keep going bicycles.
Well, I tell you what, if you can ride that bike now, can you sit on it to push your legs?
No.
Are you big enough for the bike yet?
No.
Would you like me to maybe run and hold it on the back to see if you can fit on it? You just have to sit on the seat.
With green bicycle.
There is a green bicycle, but I think it's a bit bigger than that one.
Green bicycle.
Green bicycle? Well, we have to get the green bicycle. It's in the other storage unit. So anyway, guys, in the storage unit, it's time to, I want to see, every time I scour the papers, I want to see the front paper say, we've halted all current adoptions have been halted. I want to see these words in the papers. The demands are out there. If you're taking direct action, again, don't forget to attend the training. The way you communicate, what you say, how you speak to people, it's important. It's the difference between you being arrested and detained. They are going to make a harsh message out of us, but if we get bigger, there's nothing they can do about us, because they can't afford. When say Martin Matthews and stuff was scaling and putting the banners in Parliament and all that sort of stuff, it was one-on-one arrests. We're now in the mass of hundreds of arrests. And if we can move to the thousands being arrested, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. If per city and per thing, there was over 100 arrests, they couldn't cope with it. They don't have the policing and they don't have the army for this. So anyway, we're going over into 2020. So by July 2020, I would like to see that the UK have written its new British Bill of Rights, that we are living under the core standards of beliefs of natural law, of natural, organic ways of living, inco-symbioticness. Yes, it sounds a little bit of utopia, but if we, the British people, can all get on the same page, and the world can all get on the same page, and if we can all realise that we're all part of this, we've all got to do our part in this. So I'm stepping up for Britain. I'm stepping up for my country. I'm hoping you're going to step up for Britain too. I'm hoping other people are going to step up for their own countries. But more and more importantly, step up for yourself, step up for your family, step up for your community, and help raise up those that are struggling to step up for themselves until we all can. Do you know what I mean? You want the other bike? So my little boy's too big, too small for his bike. We're getting there. I could do with one of them little peddling ones for them.
Screwdrivers.
And screwdrivers. Would you like to go and fix your bike? That needs an Allen key. That's an Allen key in that one. It's not a screwdriver. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna shoot off. Please, you know, stay strong, live long, peace, harmony, prosperity, and you know, whatever people think. I'm not a Christian and I'm not a pagan. They're both labels. They're just labels that were insults by the Christians and pagans. So just like the black man was a nigger, the Christians call them pagans, and the pagans call them Christians. So I ain't either of them labels. I am a child of God. I walk with Jesus. Jesus is cemented in my heart. If you have a look at my scan, you can see the cross in my heart. My brain's a bit mashed at the moment, and that's fine. Dealing with some trauma, dealing with some grief, cry quite a lot, clearing out my system, cry again, battling with smoking, cry again. But every day, you know, keep on keeping on. Don't forget, you can be a lazy ass fucking cow that chuds around, you know, or you can be a rhino. Thicken up your skin, toughen up, and do this with integrity and grace, and do it with truth. So anyway, I think Dean's just letting me know that Shiloh is now waking up. It's a bit soon, so I shall catch you all later. And don't forget, write down what help, even now. If you could have all the help in the world right now, what is it that you want to achieve, and what help do you need? And I shall speak to you soon. Bye. What would you like?
Cheese.
We need to go shopping for some cheese. In fact, we need to get some nappies. In fact, we need to get some bloody money right now.